What's your favorite so far out of the different, Ben, out of all of the campaigns that you've done? I mean, personally, Samuel L. Jackson teaching people to swear in, what is it, a dozen languages or something is hilarious.
Yeah, 15 languages. I mean, it's tough to not say David Dobrik is the favorite when he got 100,000 people to register to vote is really staggering, and he can put that in context. But those numbers were just insane. And also, it was a lot of fun.
So Ben, maybe dig in for us a little bit. Just what was the initiative for you to come up with the Good to Vote idea?
Yeah, so I work at YouTube, but this was an idea that I had that I actually took some time off from YouTube to make it happen. And the general idea was, had seen a lot of messaging on social platforms reminding people to vote, and felt like there might be a way to make the process of getting people to register to vote and to be prepared to vote more fun and gamify it a little bit. And so the core idea, which I took to Andy a few months ago now, was what if we had talent, whether it's influencers, actors, athletes, say to their fans, I'm going to set a target for you guys. If you guys get to 1,000 voter registrations, here's what I'll do for you guys. And that could be shave their beard, release some old TV footage, and that would maybe get more action from the voters. And it turned out to really work well.
Well, 300,000 plus voters registering right now and participating, which is absolutely phenomenal. And so, Andy, when you got the call from Ben, I mean, with HeadCount, for so many years, you've already been exciting people and getting people active and using music as well, your passion. Can you tell us a little bit about what that conversation was like with Ben and your experience?
I like the concept, but what really stood out to me was the idea of working with kind of native YouTubers. Years ago, we did something with a YouTube channel called SourceFed, and SourceFed ends up registering more voters than anybody else in the entire campaign. There were 200 major musicians and comics in the campaign, and SourceFed doubles all of them.
Oh, wow.
And I told Ben this. I said, we've never been able to capture that lightning again. We're not native YouTubers. We're from the music world. And we've always wanted to find ways to work with more of these content creators. So for that reason, he kind of had me at YouTube. So we were seeing out of the gate, the stuff that Ben had brought to us was performing as well as the very, very top arena and stadium level musicians.
And I actually love that your campaign and everything that you guys are doing, it's reaching such a diverse group of influencers. And I mean, that's everyone in this country. It's such a diverse group of people, and to be able to speak to them in different ways that relate to them. I'm very impressed with David Dobrik and the campaign you guys have done, giving a Tesla, and he brought in over 100,000 voter registers. That's amazing. He can't even vote himself. That's actually something I find the most amazing, is that he lives in this country, but he's not a citizen that can vote. And so he is using his platform and voice to do what he can't do himself, to spread that word.
When we heard about what you guys were doing, we were just so astonished and excited, because when there is a marriage of art and entertainment and music tied to a good message, that is just the dream. How have you guys, I mean, everything you guys have done in your career seems to have done that in the past, but can you speak to the role of art and entertainment in this landscape now?
Yeah, I mean, HeadCount, one thing to know about us is while we work in the political space, we are culturally a music organization. And so we don't come at this from a political viewpoint. We come at it from a live music-driven viewpoint. And when we started in 2004, the social media didn't exist. I think YouTube maybe was just starting, but certainly the concert business was going strong and the festival business was starting to take off. So we were running around with clipboards and paper registering voters. And had it not been for the pandemic, we'd still be running around with clipboards and paper registering voters. It's still something we do and believe in and are really good at. But one of the ways we're doing it is that fans of Ariana Grande text other fans of Ariana Grande. Fans of the Grateful Dead and Dead & Company text other Deadheads. And we find that when we use that method, we get triple the engagement, triple the responses as in when it's just a blind text to a voter. And when you can tap into that and then drive political participation through it, it's much more powerful than anything like a campaign can do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when I look at, other aspects of entertainment or even what we do with our shows, we have a really strong audience and a very passionate audience, but there's something else about music. And I think using that as a catalyst for getting people to register to vote is amazing.
For me, felt like, sometimes there's ways to combine politics with humor and music, and that ultimately that makes the message travel further, right? Like combining it is what has made this more viewed, more shared, more actionable,
It's incredible to see how dialed in youth are today about everything that is going on, politics, climate change, everything. How does that give you guys hope for the future, knowing that kids these days are paying attention and they do care?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer, a lot of it for me is through the lens of YouTube, because I've worked at YouTube for 10 years and I've seen the things that creators have done, creators who are, 18, 19, 20, that are really pretty remarkable. Like one example, Jimmy, the Mr. Beast channel, he raised over $20 million to plant trees. And, it was the most successful thing I had ever seen on YouTube in terms of that kind of social impact campaign. But what was also cool is like the whole community got behind him and wanted to do it also. Mm-hmm. So, in my house, I have younger kids. A lot of what I'm following in terms of Gen Z is through the lens of YouTube. Mm-hmm. And we've had, just such great support from YouTube creators that basically want to use their platform to do good.
Andy, with the campaigns and how you guys put out your messaging, how do you have to tailor? Do you find you have to tailor based on different audiences or where you're marketing to push? Obviously influencers have their different audiences, but if you're speaking to immigrants or if you're speaking to students, what kind of way do you have to flex your message?
The youngest people who have the most valuable knowledge and cultural insights right now, because it's their peers we're trying to reach. So when working with someone like David Dobrik, we found that, what David achieved through the Tesla giveaway is totally unprecedented. Nothing like that has ever happened. Nobody has ever registered 100,000 voters through one promotion. I've learned a lot in the last week in terms of who knows David Dobrik and who doesn't. And every, teenager in America, every young, college student seems to know who he is. But if you don't have kids, you don't have teenage kids, David Dobrik's probably not on your radar. And it just really just shows, one, how I think the media landscape has changed a lot in the last couple decades. It's much more based on demographics and, people consume what they want to consume rather than having it fed to them by network television. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's a lot of it is about keeping up and also knowing what you don't know. Me knowing that my intern knows more than I do about what's culturally matters right now. That humility is really important to get things like this done. Yeah,
which is great. I mean, that sort of collective of people coming together with their own individual voices and passions is what makes it so unique. So Ben, with your kids, as they're getting older, so voting aside, what do you think are some values that are most important for them? What's something that you feel needs to change with the overall landscape right now to make sure that the future for your kids is what you hope it'll be?
I think for us, a lot of it is trying to find things that they actually enjoy doing, and it never becomes a chore of, what today is Saturday. That means it's volunteer day, and they all sort of, aren't excited about it. It's trying to figure out, like, for each different kid, what is something that they can kind of take ownership of and enjoy doing. And that can mean experimenting with a lot of different ways to be involved.
So for you, Andy, what do you see all the years that you've been putting energy into your passion and using music as a catalyst for social change? What's your dream 10 years from now, 15 years from now?
Oh, wow. Well, I certainly hope that we kind of get over the hump as a country where we're participating at much higher levels. I mean, last election was about 58% turnout, which is really for young people, it was less than 50%. So it's still mind-blowing to me that, about half of Americans are choosing not to participate in our democracy. What we really want to get to, at least from a participation standpoint, is that it just looks really different. And I think that, like YouTube and YouTube creators, if anybody is going to change that culture, it's them. I mean, it's so clear to us that this is who kids are listening to. Change does happen in negative ways and positive ways. And I certainly hope that, through changes in media, we can see changes in culture that lead to changes in participation.
I agree. I 100% agree. And where should people go, Ben, for registering?
I mean, headcount.org has all the tools you need. The way that we built this is, if there's a certain thing that you want to help unlock, all of that is also at goodtovote.com. So, all the resources are at HeadCount. If you go to Good to Vote, we have the list of all the celebrities, influencers, musicians that are participating, and you can click on the one you want to see.
Thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing and inspiring all generations, everybody, to get out there and register and vote.
Yeah, thanks for just bringing community together for something that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for participating.
We will keep putting our voice out through social media as well to all of our fans. But let's see the difference that this makes in a month.